More than 26,000 streets. That is how a later University College London review describes the knowledge carried by a licensed London taxi driver. The names and layout of more than 26,000 streets, plus thousands of places people might ask to reach. But in 1999, the number is not a fact on a research paper. It is a job. You are sitting behind the wheel of a London black cab. A passenger you never need to see gives you 2 points in the city. No fixed line connects them. The answer must come from the map you have spent years building inside your head. This driver is a representative reconstruction, not an identified research participant. He is visibly in his 40s, safely within the documented 32 to 62-year age range of the men in the landmark 2000 taxi driver study. He has no invented name, family, test score, or private diary. What he has is the knowledge, and before he can earn money from it, he has to build it. In 1999, London taxi licensing still belongs to the Public Carriage Office, a civilian branch of the Metropolitan Police. The badge is more than a proof that you can drive. It gives a licensed taxi driver the right to wait at a rank or be hailed in the street. A minicab must be booked in advance. A black cab can become public transport the moment a hand goes up. That privilege rests on a much larger entrance system. In the mid-1990s, a London applicant faces a criminal record check, a medical, a driving test in a purpose-built taxi, and a comprehensive topographic examination. The vehicle itself is regulated down to its shape, a tight turning circle for London's streets, a partition between driver and passenger, a flat passenger floor, and a taximeter. From the first day of 2000, every London taxi in a fleet of roughly 19,000 is also required to be wheelchair accessible. The cab is specialized. But the hardest piece of equipment is the driver. A parliamentary answer from 1998 describes how the late 90s knowledge begins. Your application is accepted. You attend an initial talk, the topographic demands are explained, and you receive a book of routes to learn. You may take up to 2 years, with an extension on request, before applying for the first oral examination interview, an appearance. For applicants in 1997, the average time from that initial talk to the first appearance is 484 days. That is only the first threshold. From the first appearance to becoming licensed, the average is another 781 days. Those are 2 separate stage averages, not one applicant's exact stopwatch. But together, they expose the hidden order of the occupation. The first fare comes after the city has already consumed years. By 1998, a written test stands before the first appearance. Then come oral examinations, a marking system, progress, setbacks, and more appearances. There is no recovered score sheet for the representative driver in this story. The pressure belongs to the system, not to an invented failure. So, how do you learn a city too large to memorize as a list? Later, researchers describe a process that moves constantly between map and street. You study selected routes, you travel them. You overlap one run with another until separate lines begin to connect. You visualize places when they are no longer in front of you. You use landmarks and smaller goals to hold a much larger network together. One street name is almost useless by itself. What matters is what touches it, what crosses it, which way traffic can move, and which destination lies beyond the next turn. The map on the table is only the beginning. The city has to become retrievable. You travel one route and return to the map. A junction that looks simple on paper now has an approach, a turn, and a position in space. You travel another route that crosses the first, then another. Gradually, the lines stop behaving like separate lessons. They become a network. That distinction matters because a passenger will not politely request one route from the study book. The passenger supplies 2 points. The driver must create the connection. Late 90s records give us the structure and the waiting time. Later official TfL guidance preserves the central task in sharper detail. Locate the 2 points, then describe the shortest available route between them. Street by street, turn by turn. The later instructions are not proof that every stage or every route count was identical in 1999, but the cognitive demand is clear. Recognition is not enough. You must produce the city under questioning. Imagine the appearance room without inventing an examiner's face. 2 destinations are spoken. First, you locate them, then the route begins. Leave the point, name the street. Turn, name the next street, cross, continue. set down. One uncertain connection can expose a gap in a network that took years to build, and passing does not end the task. It changes where the task happens. Now the 2 points arrive through the partition of a licensed cab. The meter waits. The passenger waits. London does not arrange itself into one repeated line. A bus driver can master a demanding but constrained repertoire of routes. The taxi driver must recombine the network for journeys that may begin and end almost anywhere in the licensed area. That does not make one worker more intelligent than the other. It makes the spatial problem different. The passenger sees the result, not the retrieval. You hear 2 points. You place them relative to thousands of others. You reject the streets that lead away. You select the sequence that joins them. Then you drive while traffic, restrictions, and the physical city test the mental version you prepared. This is why the knowledge is not merely a memory contest. It is a working model that has to survive contact with London. In 2000, researchers at University College London examined what years of that work might look like inside the brain. The study includes 16 right-handed male licensed taxi drivers. Their average age is 44, with a range from 32 to 62. They have worked as licensed drivers for an average of 14.3 years. Their knowledge training averaged 2 years, ranging from 10 months to 3.5 years. Their structural MRI scans are compared with scans from 50 healthy right-handed men who do not drive taxis. The result is often reduced to a seductive sentence: taxi drivers have bigger brains. That is not what the study found. There is no difference in overall hippocampal volume. The difference is regional. The taxi driver group has greater volume toward the posterior of the hippocampus. A more anterior region is larger in the control group. Within the drivers, more time spent learning and practicing the occupation correlates positively with posterior volume and negatively with anterior volume on the right. The hippocampus is deeply involved in spatial memory and navigation, so the pattern fits a powerful idea. A healthy adult brain may adapt locally to the demands placed upon it, but the 2000 study compares experienced drivers with controls at one point in time. It can show association. It cannot by itself prove that the knowledge created every difference. Perhaps people with a particular starting anatomy are more likely to qualify. Perhaps driving all day, moving through traffic, or stress contributes to the pattern. The first scan opens the mystery. It does not close it. In 2006, researchers tightened the comparison. This time, 18 London taxi drivers are compared with 17 London bus drivers. Both groups drive full-time. Their London driving experience is similar, and the study finds no significant difference across its measures of stress. The crucial difference is navigation. Bus drivers follow a constrained repertoire. Taxi drivers navigate flexibly across the city. The regional pattern remains. Compared with bus drivers, taxi drivers show greater gray matter volume in the mid-posterior hippocampi and less in the anterior hippocampi. Years of navigation experience correlate with the pattern only in the taxi group. Driving, motion, customers, and measured stress no longer explain the result as easily. Flexible spatial knowledge becomes the stronger suspect. Still, these are experienced workers compared after the expertise already exists. To watch change happen, researchers need people before the badge. That study arrives in 2011. 79 male trainees are scanned near the beginning of the knowledge. 31 male control participants are scanned as well. 3 to 4 years later, the researchers look again. At follow-up, 39 qualifiers and 20 non-qualifiers return for the second round of testing. 20 original trainees do not return. 2 of them had qualified, while most of the rest had stopped training or made no appearances. Across the full original sample, 41 of 79 qualify, 51.9%. That number belongs to this later study, not to every applicant in 1999. The weekly effort separates the returning groups sharply. Those who qualify report an average of about 35 training hours per week. The non-qualifying returners report about 17. The number is not a success prescription. It is evidence of how much time the city can demand. At the beginning, the groups do not show the later structural difference. After 3 to 4 years, the trainees who qualify show a selective increase in posterior hippocampal gray matter. The returning non-qualifiers do not. The controls do not. Now, the change has been observed within the same people over time. That does not mean every qualifier changes identically. It does not mean the whole brain grows, but it gives much stronger support to the idea that successfully acquiring this detailed spatial representation can reshape a specific part of the adult memory system. The result is impressive. It is not a simple superpower story. Both returning trainee groups become better than controls at judging spatial relationships between London landmarks. On a separate delayed test involving a complex figure, the qualified group performs worse than controls. Researchers describe a possible price for specialization. That finding is task-specific. It is not general memory loss, brain damage, or proof that knowing London makes you forget everything else. It suggests something more interesting. Expertise can change the balance of what a memory system is practiced to do, and many trainees never reach that point. When later participants explain why they stopped, they mention the time commitment, financial pressure, and family obligations. We do not assign any of those reasons to the representative driver. We do not need to invent his private crisis. The abandoned training itself is part of the hidden shift. The public meets the successful driver. It rarely meets the years that did not become a badge. In 2000, as researchers published the first structural study, the Public Carriage Office moves from the Metropolitan Police into the newly created Transport for London. The institution changes. The deeper transaction remains recognizable. A passenger gives you 2 points. You give back a route. Today, a device can draw that route in seconds. The evidence here does not show that digital navigation has erased the knowledge, made it useless, or reversed the brain changes. The better question is, what kind of work has moved? When a navigation system chooses the path, the work of storing, updating, and retrieving route relationships moves away from the driver. In the black cab system, those relationships were built and maintained by the worker before the passenger arrived. More than 26,000 streets is the later scholarly description. Other studies use roughly 25,000. Neither number should be mistaken for a recovered official 2000 inventory, and neither number is the real achievement. The knowledge is not 26,000 disconnected names. It is the relationship between them, the ability to hear 2 points and make one route appear from the whole city. The passenger sees a cab, the meter sees a journey, the driver carries the map that makes both possible.